Hello everyone, this is Ben again. Welcome to the new episode. This is episode number 7 of my paintball journey. And for the last couple of weeks, in fact last couple of months, we have been producing various videos for the new players to really find out about my journey as well as the journey of my guests on how they should start playing paintball and basically craft out your own paintball journey as you enjoy the game. So today, episode 7, what are we going to talk about now?
We're going to talk about the daily Sundays. So basically, we've already formed, previously we mentioned we've started a team. You already have a group of people that is already playing constantly. So every day you're at the field, you're training. What do you actually do? What do you...
So in short, we have already gotten a team. We have gotten interested people who want to come together, and now these guys are taking it seriously. They want to enter the field maybe for the first time or for the second time, and they want to put real practice into their training. And of course, in the earlier episodes, we have spoken about players looking for mentors who can actually impart some paintball skills to them. But there's a group of people, and most of you are from that group, that you doesn't know anybody at all. You know, you don't know who's at the field. And then you go to the field, and then you basically go to the field operator. You rent their guns, and now you have the gun and you enter the field. So what are you going to do?
Okay, I see actually two groups of people. One is you are alone. You're alone. You go to the field. You don't know anyone. How do you start training?
I think that's the most difficult.
Yeah, that's definitely the most difficult. The other one is you have a group already, so you come with 5 guys, you can form a team, but you don't know anyone. So how are you gonna know what to do and how to train?
Okay, so let's talk about the Lone Ranger first. I call him the Lone Ranger. Okay, so Lone Ranger goes to the field, he picks up paintball, and then he asks all his friends. He messaged all his friends and he said, "Hey, come and play paintball," but nobody wants to join him. And he's probably the only one guy.
Which I can say is like me.
Like yourself.
That's how I start.
Okay, and then like for me, I turned my back and said, "Hey Jane, do you want to play paintball?"
And they came along, right?
And then it became a group.
You had a group.
So what happened if you're like the Lone Ranger?
Yeah, so for me, as a Lone Ranger, I like the sport. I actually came down to one of the SPS events when I still didn't know anything. And I saw what they were doing and I liked it and I wanted to start playing. So what I did was I followed the Facebook page. So I followed the
social media,
the field page, the competition page, and then from that it led me also to the shop, which I came to check out the shop, and then from there you start talking to players, talking to the shop owner, and then from there you try to meet more people.
So you start to branch out, you know. It's like a virus. It's slowly spreading. But first you need to know where to find all the resources, and of course tons of resources on the internet that you can find nowadays.
Facebook.
Go to social media, Instagram, and then even visiting the field, standing there observing what the speedballers are doing, and then from there start to get to know one another. You know, start out with small little chat. Hey, you know, how's your day? Hey, I'm new. Can you teach me about the game? You know, I saw you guys doing this. You know, I couldn't really comprehend what you were talking about. You know, can you explain to me what you all do? I'm sure there'll be tons of people who are willing to share.
Yes, the thing is that the community is very friendly, and I think anyone that you ask a question to will be very open to share with you, and even invite you to join the team to play.
In fact, don't be surprised because you can find overzealous people as well. So if you ask one question, this guy might give you like 100 answers.
Which might be a bit overwhelming.
Like too friendly, right? Too friendly. It's like breathing down your neck and then you know, pushing you with lots of tons of information. So you gotta be careful lah. You gotta be careful lah. You have to make your own judgment as to what to hear, what not to hear.
Correct.
Right.
So for me, how I actually entered in was actually a clinic. I saw that one of the teams was doing a paintball clinic. So I joined the clinic, and that's how suddenly the circle opened up, and then you have a team to train with.
I think we mentioned this in the earlier shows also. That joining a clinic is one of the best ways to understand all the paintball jargons.
It
is the best way to course. It's like a crash course. You know, we exponential learning within the 3 hours, and then you learn about the jargons of paintball. You learn about the commands of paintball. You know, it's basically a very theory based kind of environment that you go into. Not so much of practical. Actually, they talk a lot.
Yeah.
What I realized that most of the clinic people start talking a lot because there's just so much information that you have to absorb.
Yeah. But
Then
I think that there are some real shooting and then there are some games at the end also, so that makes it fun as well.
right. Okay, then what about a group? So if you have a group of people coming, you already know what's paintball. You know, you have already gone through maybe some paintball clinic, and then eventually you end up with a group of people that wants to play paintball regularly.
Yeah.
Now these guys are at the field. What is probably the first thing that you do?
Yeah,
What would you do?
I think if you had
Double knee slide.
Yeah, the thing is that I think because there are more people in the group,
Okay.
everyone will have a suggestion. No, I saw this on internet, or I saw this here.
Yeah.
I heard from this guy this how I should have done. So everyone will have their own thing chip in, and then
Yeah.
everyone will just try the different things.
They start doing
that everyone-
everything of their own.
Yeah.
Like even for me, right, when I first started, it was also the same. You know, I saw one guy doing certain movement, and I thought, hey, maybe I can pick that up, and then I try to do. You know, obviously you don't really feel right because you assume that that's probably the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Double knee slide being the most common one. Like for any beginner players, everyone will go in. You know, you ask a new beginner player to go to the corner, the guy will do a double knee slide.
Yeah.
And
do that, man. You need to protect your
yeah.
knees.
So of course you're gonna burst your knees by doing double knee slide, right? So I think there are things that you can explore. There are things that you probably want to make sure you do the right thing right from the start, right? That's where fundamentals come into play. But also, of course, when it comes down to training, for myself, I think a small warm up, you know, just make sure that your body is in tune to the environment, in tune to the grass or the artificial turf or the terrain that you're playing in. Be in tune to things like even like communication, you know, because things can be happening in the field. You know, there can be multiple fields. Somebody is shouting from cross field, and you hear something from across the field, and you thought, you know, there might be somebody in your field. So I think it's just to really understand and appreciate your surrounding. I think that's very important. Then maybe one of the most common thing that I always see from beginner players is that they can play the game, they can shoot, they understand all the commands, the jargons, but they don't know how to rectify their marker.
Yes.
What do you think?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
A lot of players don't know what to do when the marker is down.
Yeah.
They don't know how to fix it. They don't understand anything about it. All they know is just want to pull the
Because it's
trigger.
very spoon-fed, very much spoon-fed. You give the guy a paintball marker and then he starts shooting. But basic rectifying of the gun, I think, is still necessary.
Yeah.
Like for example, there can be a chance where your paintball gets stuck in the chamber, and then, you know, probably you get a paint break in the gun.
Yeah.
Then you need to know how to rectify it so that you can still continue in the game. A lot of times people stumble because they have a runaway gun, or they have gun that doesn't shoot, or maybe run out of air, or even players who start the game with the safety still on, you know, and then they call out for help, and then of course obviously no one is going to run and brave that line of fire to come to you to realize that you didn't put the gun to safe, like off the safety.
Yeah.
Right. So these are things that I think as a beginner player is very important. Get to know your equipment.
Yeah, as you say, so it might not even be a fault. It might be something, you know, there's like the safety button you didn't switch, or maybe the loader you didn't turn on,
or the air tank was not tight.
Yeah.
You know, basic things like that.
Very basic as well.
Even
I didn't know that basic.
I've seen one that his loader fell off as he was playing, and then the minute he puts it back, he turns it the other way.
Right.
So then he was trying to load. So he has a pack, he was trying to load, but he was looking for the lid. But the lid was on the front, so he couldn't see it, right? So it's like, hey, how do I, you know, put this back on? So I think things like that can be easily resolved if you have a basic understanding of how to handle a marker, you know, parts of the marker, you know, really understand from the inside out of how to get your gun going so that you can still continue to remain in the game.
Yeah, and the other example I can highlight was that time you also mentioned a guy came to you and he said his marker was down. You looked at it, you checked it was fine, you give it back to him, and then he came back again, he said marker was down, and when you actually observe how he was shooting, he was using a gravity hopper and he was shooting sideways.
Yeah,
he was trying to shoot that way. Then of course the paintball is not going to load in, and there's nothing wrong with the marker, it's just hold it up straight.
It's just the way that you position your marker. I think these are some of the basic things that is so important for beginner players when you are going into the phase of training. So it's like preparation for yourself. I also see a lot of players who, you know, they go to the field, they see on a Sunday, they see teams like Outlaws, they see players from Hellions, you know, players from Red Sevens doing sliding, diving, Lanun, you know, and then these guys thought that, you know, it's like, I can also do that. So they execute the same exact movement without realizing that any of these guys who are doing diving, sliding have pads underneath their jersey and pants.
Correct.
So like protection pads. And they try to execute something similar, and then eventually they injure themselves.
Yeah.
So once they get injured and then they have bruises, they might not come back again. So I think protection and basically basic apparel are still quite important. Knee pads, elbow pads, something that can protect you so that you can live another day, play the game longer, maybe,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. I think other than you know, seeking for advice from mentors and players at the field, there's also a lot of online content.
Okay.
Now we are seeing that there is a bunch of free stuff on YouTube that you can search.
Right.
I've seen Ryan Greenspan doing
A BKI program.
Yeah, BKI. I've seen Nikki
Nikki
Tudor
Tudor with Truthenology.
Right. So there's some free stuff and there's some paid stuff as well. So like BKI, like Truthenology as well. Those are paid, but it's all very small sum. I think it's like what, $3 a month or something.
Yeah,
like
for
that.
Nikki's program, I think it starts off with like $4 a month.
Yeah.
And then tons of resources, tons of content for you to understand how to play the game. Really from starting, you know, the game at the starting frame, all the way to trying to bunker people, snap shooting. I think these are very valuable content that anyone can choose to subscribe, and then of course learn it as you go along. Of course, there are advanced program, you know, there are intermediate and very advanced program as well. That anyone can choose and do it at the comfort of their own time. I remember fitness is something that I used to do long time ago when I first started the game. Of course, as per any sportsman, as per any athlete, when you're playing a sport, you also want to keep yourself fit. And keeping yourself fit involves a lot of things. It's not just about understanding the strategy, the shooting, but also keeping yourself fit so that you have enough stamina. Yep. You know, your cardiovascular strength is tougher. You know, you can breathe better, and because you can breathe better, you think better. You know, you can have better speed. So I used to do cardio exercise before I compete. So say for example, 2 weeks from now, I know I have an event coming, so I will spend at least 2 weeks going for slow jog, and then, you know, increase the intensity as I come closer to the actual competition. There were times that the team even try to practice their sliding. I remember that there was one time the Red Sevens team got so crazy. We went to Marina Bay where they have really good grass patch, and then we went there to do sliding and diving. Yeah. And then we went to Jurong Stadium. You know, we all signed up as an Active SG member, which of course gives you $100 credit to visit any of the gym.
Free gym.
Right. I believe the
free swimming pool.
I believe the Singapore women girls team are also doing that. So with the
giveaway.
credit, then you go to the gym and you start lifting weights. I remember there was one time that we did that also. And then in our team we have an instructor. Fahmi is quite a fit guy. You know, he works for Sports Council, and then he took on the chance to also lead the team in terms of like doing core exercises. Yep. So we were trying to, like, you know, we were doing planks. You know, we were doing a lot of mountain climbers just to keep ourselves fit and you know, make sure that as you are going into the tournament, you won't feel tired. Of course, there were times that I feel lazy also. So preparation were not there. Yeah, preparation were not there. And then I go into the tournament. After the second game, I tell myself, no, the next tournament that I'm coming into, I'm make sure I keep myself fit. Yeah. And then of course, at the end of the event, I don't do that lah. And then when I go into the second tournament, same thing happens. You know, I tell myself, okay, the next event, I must make sure that I keep myself fit. And then this thing keeps going on and on. But as long as you fix your mind to it and you start exercising, I think it only gets better. You can last longer. My last tournament with the Red Sevens was in Penang. It was a 3-day event. The first day, no problem, I feel fit. Second day, no problem at all. But as I come into the third day, I think my body starts to fatigue a little bit. Of course, age is catching up. Certain parts of the body doesn't work anymore. The knee starts to hurt, the ankle starts to hurt. But these are this can't be prevented because it's due to age. The older you get, the easier you get tired. But moving into day 1 and 2, I feel perfectly normal. I feel I'm okay, and that was because leading to the event, I actually went for a lot of runs. I almost run every other day. Try to do more push-up, try to do more chin-up, and I feel fit going to the event. I think physically and mentally, that preparation is very, very important.
Yeah.
Right.
It's really very important. Just because your normal training day also would definitely not be intense as the competition. You train like hell a lot on Sunday, and then next day you're aching everywhere.
That's right.
But on a tournament day, you need to play like 3 days.
Yeah.
So you gotta have that kind of intensity on a normal day, so that on the event day, or even basically more than that, so that on competition day you are at your 100% during competition.
Yeah, maybe a tip for new players and new teams. When we first started, training means going to the field and run 10 rounds. And then we got so tired, and then we said, we are so tired. Then we didn't focus much on the game. We didn't focus much on the strategy, because at the start we were like running 10 rounds and we tire ourselves out. Right? We do a lot of static exercise. So nowadays I don't see much of that anymore. Any new team that come, I will tell them, hey, make sure you do your cardio at your own free time. Don't spend the time on Sunday coming together and then go and jog 10 rounds, because you can do that on a Wednesday night.
Yeah, correct.
You can do that on a Friday night. And then when you're at the field, you just want to make sure that you put your best time on the field, talking about strategy, walking the field, understanding one another, bunker codes, strategize, and do things that are more effective rather than going 10 rounds. We used to do that a lot of times.
Yeah, and then also if your fitness is up, you can do the trainings more. Like I ask you to dive into snake like
you can do it 10 times.
10 times,
no problem.
If you don't exercise, you dive in 2 times.
You think twice. You don't even go 2 times. You think twice. Like should I not?
Yeah.
So
and then you do twice, and then you punch it, and then you 3rd time, then you get injured.
Yeah, you get so tired. Then and that's the end of the story again. Then you rest for another 2 more weeks, and then of course you get demotivation, right? Yeah, and then you get demotivated. And then you say, my injury, and then after that you complain a lot, and then you never come back. And that is a very common story that we always see from a lot of players, right? If you are watching our video and you are one of those guys,
and you're nodding your head,
right? That's a comment, right? We've all come through this path. We understand. You don't want to come to a stage where you are too tired, and then there's no motivation to come back. You must keep yourself, at the top at times.
It's definitely a tedious task and something that you gotta push through, but you get rewarded on Sunday. Okay,
I like to go into the second part of this program with a bit of tips, sharing, of course knowledge sharing with some of the new players. So we have talked about the preparation, we've talked about preparing yourself physically, mentally, the equipment, understanding the environment. Now we talk about some drills that you can do. For me, I always focus on 5 things, okay? And these 5 things are things that I've always preached to all the players, and things that you must master along the way. Alright, first, be good at the starting frame, which means your breakout. You must be really good. Alright? Second, you can do your entry into the bunker. So entry into the bunker is something that you can also work on. How you run, how you dive, how you slide, how you shoot. The third one is of course posture behind the bunker. A lot of times people don't have good posture. So without good posture, sometimes you get clipped off the pack, you get shot on the legs, So posture to me extremely important. The fourth one is of course your communication. So communication comes in when you are playing the game, and then you start talking, and then it also comprises a little bit of teamwork as well. So it is basically the foundation of why we are playing a team sports, right? So communication, teamwork, strategize, and of course the last one is step shooting, right? So I've never gone past or gone beyond these 5 basic principles of playing paintball. So starting at the starting frame, breaking out, entry into bunker, position behind the bunker, communication, of course the last will be step shooting. And each of these components, I'm talking about months and maybe even years of training, just to make sure that you get the right tuning into your head, not only in terms of understanding how it works, but basically physically running that muscle memory into the game. I think that is extremely important. Of course, from there, then you can break it up into things that are more specific. For example, accuracy. For example, speed. For example, the way that you enter the bunker. What should you be focusing on the minute you enter? What if you start shooting somebody out of the break? What is your secondary move? You know, what if off the break you manage to shoot the snake, and you are a snake player? What is your second move to counter your opponent? So these are things that you can dwell into on a more deeply basis, where you really talk about the specifics of the game. So these 5 things are things that I wouldn't run away from.
Yeah, and I think each point that you mentioned can be a week of training. Yeah, maybe 1 or 2 points can be a week of training, and when you come to like the 3rd or the 4th week of doing that one cycle, you can go back to the first one.
Of course, you restart everything all over again.
So you keep doing that. That is basically your fundamentals, and you always got to keep doing that. Of course, with that also, then you got to pair it with some skirmishes. So you basically put what you train and what you do in training into real life, because when real life and people are shooting at you, you're not going to dive the same way as you did during training.
That's right.
So you got to do that as well.
That's right. You got to have an opponent shooting at you just to put you into that scenario and mode of training. A lot of ways to improve on the ways that you can train actually. Of course, there's tons of resources online. One of the snap shooting practice that I like is to line the bunkers up so that it mirrors one another, and then you can put 4 or 10 bunkers along the whole entire stretch of different bunkers. You start from the first one, and then you snap shoot your right, and then you go left, and then you do a right and left, and then you do all the way until you finish the other end of the bunker. So this is extremely tiring. That can be done. Another one is something that I personally like to do is my first shot training. That is my accuracy training. So what I will do is, say for example, I'm a back player and I like to do laning. I will post my gun or pretend that I'm putting my gun on the starting frame, and then as I lift off my gun, I try to do my first shot and see where the shot is landing. Of course, not every shot will be very consistent. A lot of variables as well, whether it's a windy day, whether it's a hot and sunny day, no wind, whether the paint is shooting a good paint, the posture that you're standing. So these are variables that you can add in to your first shot training. And as you get better, then that's where you can shift the target further apart, and then work on your accuracy. First shot, extremely important. Just talking about first shot, there are 2 things that I'm always looking at for first shot. Of course, the first one is feeling the lanes. So for example, you have a snake player who's running into the snake, and you want to stop the snake from coming up. You run to the corner of the bunker to stop him. As soon as you come out, that first shot, you have to try and get the snake. That's one. Second, you're running into a bunker and your opponent doesn't know you are there. Okay, nobody knows you actually enter a bunker, and then suddenly you pop up, you see somebody there, maybe his whole entire pack exposed to you. You want to fire that first shot has to be accurate. So to me, first shot accuracy is extremely important. If you want to play at a higher level, okay, maybe you are a Division 4 player, maybe then you start from D3, D2, D1. The differences between a pro player versus an amateur player from the lower divisions are always the first shot accuracy. So if you can work on that, then kudos to you. You're sure that you're on the right track. Okay.
Yeah, I think of course in the as you move up the division, so people get faster, people more accurate. When people are diving into the snake, they're not gonna. You only have that first shot to get him.
That's right.
Right, on the higher divisions. Maybe on the Division 4, you got the first 3 shots.
Once you miss it,
if you don't hit the first 3 shots, he's gonna go in.
That's right.
You're not gonna see him ever again.
Right. I always there are 2 things that I always relate paintball to. First is of course fence. I relate paintball to similarly to the fencing sports. The better fencers are always the older guys, right? Because you fence a lot, you come with a lot of experience. So therefore, this is the same for paintball, right? Because every game that we go into is very different from the previous game, and the next game is very different from the current game. So these situational changes basically adds more experiences to your gameplay, and therefore the more you play, the better you get. So likewise for fencing, the more you fence, the better fencer you are. And of course, the other one that I like to put into relation is I always say that training a speedballer is just like going for a pilot course. Like you have to fly an aeroplane, and flying an aeroplane, of course, we know it's not easy. You have to first understand the mechanics of the aeroplane. You know, you have to learn how to fly. You have to understand the wind direction. You have to, withstand the G-force. You have to do gliding and you do landing. So by the time you finish the whole entire course, that's where you can fly an aeroplane. So for a speedballer, it's the same thing. There are many things that you have to learn before you can actually become a very accomplished speedball player. So the journey is a long journey. I wouldn't lie to anyone to say that, oh, it's going to be easy. I would think that any player coming into the competition play, unless you are very talented, even if you are very talented, I give you 1 year to learn all the tricks that there are in paintball, right? By the second year, you probably understand a little bit, but you're still getting the mechanics. You're not that good yet. But by the time you hit the 3rd year, 4th year, 5th year, maybe that's when you start flying. And then as you fly, then you get more cunning, right? You understand a little bit more into the game, and by the 6th, 7th, 8th year, you become a very good player. I think that's the pathway that I see for most of the paintballers.
Yeah, I think there's always something new to learn.
Always.
Yeah, always. And I can say that for in every different player or team that you play with, they'll impart a different knowledge, a different mindset, different thinking of how something should be done. And if you can gather all of that and keep playing different players, playing different teams,
right,
listening to different strategies, you can learn a lot, and there's always something new to learn.
Right. I also like to encourage new players to basically join as many teams as they want.
Yeah.
Don't stick with your team, because there's so much to learning only from your own immediate groups of friends and circle. If you start venturing out, that's where you open up your horizon. Your learning becomes better, and you get absorb knowledge faster.
Yeah.
So other than playing for Red Sevens, there have been time that I played with other teams as well. Throne was one of the teams that I played with. Blue Blood was one of the teams that I played with. I played with Feva Division for almost one whole entire season. And then of course, with all the overseas tournament that we've been playing, every time we learn from other players. Droops is one of the teams that I learned from on how they manage a team. So when you join other team, it's not just about you displaying your skill, but at the same time you absorb a lot of other information that you've never come across. Yeah. And then you start to realize, oh, so that's how they do it, okay? And of course the learning then gets better.
Yeah. I think we're not also mentioning to quit your team and join another team.
Of course, that's not
you can guess for other teams.
Yeah. Impart that skills that you have learned back to the team.
Yeah, go to another team, play for them for a tournament or training, and then go back to your team and tell the rest of your team what you have learned and what you have experienced and what you can help with your team improving. Yeah. The other way to see it is you can invite guest players into your team. So you have a more experienced player join your team for competition, and he can also help you advise the team. That's of course, you want to be tactical in that. You don't want to have someone come in and totally control your team, because I'm sure your team want to have its own control. So it's a balance that you need to play, and how you pick the player.
I just want to give an example that we have quite recently only, in fact, starting of this year. Team GBI. Mm-hmm. So GBI Aisawan, most of the guys started off playing Nerf guns, which is a very good platform for anyone who wants to learn about competitive paintball. You start playing Nerf guns, and then you play competitive Nerf, and then from there you transit into playing competitive paintball. So there's a very good transition there. Yep. And then coming into the game is totally different, because paintball is paintball, and then Nerf gun is a different style of game. Require more technique for paintball in terms of movement. The guys played their first tournament without much of guidance, and then along the way, I think they recruited Scott. So Scott is very experienced. He has his own. He's been playing for a long time. He understands the mechanics of the game. I think he's also playing for Kejahatan as a guest. He guest with the Red Sevens guys once in a while, a couple of years ago. So with those experience that he has acquired for himself, that's where he passed it down to all the GBI players. And in fact, because of that, most recently the GBI team fared pretty well in the 10-man event. I think they got 4th. Was it 4th or 3rd?
I think it was 4th.
Yeah. So that is, to me, is a very good step up, right? Instead of learning the old traditional way or learning their own style and playing, now they get immediate. It's like a tutor. Mm-hmm. You get a consultant. This consultant comes in and then he tell you, Of course, consultant not like con man, right? Consultant. So, but this guy come in and then he tell you all the mechanics of playing the game, and then that's where you improve, right? So don't be afraid of joining a team if you want to, because definitely there's more learning to it. Any other things before we wrap up for today's show?
I think the worst scenario we have encountered before is a group of people come into a sport together, and because one people or a few of them cannot make it, and then the whole team just disappears. And you bought all this gear and you got everything, and then the whole team just disappears.
That's very sad,
yeah.
I mean, we've seen that. I think one of the most important things is to have the trust in the team. Long time ago, when I first started and just want to make sure that people doesn't follow my footsteps as well, and that is when we come in to play, we have to understand that everybody loves these sports. So ultimately, everybody wants to enjoy, right? Nobody wants to get pinpoint for doing certain things wrong, and then they feel bad about themselves and then they start leaving. I think the understanding of the players is then very important. Of course, there are people who learn faster, there are people who are slow learners. I think the thing that everyone can do is to provide a very encouraging platform for people to learn. Some learn with pressure, some learn with stress. Others can't take stress very much, So I think there's a different way of managing players depending on the style of learning that they can adapt. And to me, I think that is something that I've learned over the years as well. When I first started the team, it was like Sergeant Major, I'm like an RSM, I go in there, hey, you must do it. And then along the way, I start to realize that, okay, people learn differently in the way that they learn. Some through motivation, some through stress. So when you can really maneuver that part of the learning, I think that's where the team can really come and stick together. And it's very important to understand that. A lot of times, people have expectation of one another. Of course, the higher the expectation that you have, and things don't work your way, then the higher the disappointment. So I think it's about managing your own mentality, the mindset. Something that we have been trying to do also with the Red Sevens, just sharing some experience, is for us to talk about what do we hope to achieve from participating in a tournament. So in the past, we don't do that. We come together, we go to a tournament, and then we don't do good well. We come back and say, "Oh, guys, sorry, we screwed up." Nowadays, we try to gather everyone, and then we start to talk. Okay, what do you want to do? How do you think? Where do you want to stand? Where do you think you want to go? And then we start to iron all these things out. So at least everyone is on the right mindset. And then if people who are coming in with the mindset of, "Oh, I just come here to play for fun only," then at least you understand the expectation of you when you're entering the field. And then of course the other guy who's coming in to play really hard, then he met his expectation. So it's basically to set everybody at the right platform, at the right channel, at the right level of thinking just before they start to compete. So that's all that we have for this week. We thank you for tuning in. Subsequently, we will have episode 8, 9, and of course we end off with episode 10. And things are going to be more and more interesting as we go into the mechanics of the team. We can talk about some of the failures that we have encountered for teams, and hopefully don't follow that footstep. Or if you know that you're in that portion of that change, it's time for you to start to do something to make better changes. Okay, so other than that, thank you for watching. This is Ben.
This is Dom.
We'll see you in our next episode.